want to see the face. Can you hold them up? Is it a girl or a boy?
She's a girl. Say
She is
hi.
so gorgeous. Hello, sweetheart. That is a face made for Zoom.
She's so sweet. She's a rescue, so we've only had her since May.
Oh,
So
she's so
she doesn't
beautiful.
like to be away from me like for any length of time whatsoever. So, yeah.
Yeah, I have that with a bird. He doesn't understand mommy has to record.
Yeah, you do have your bird. Yes, I remember.
So, hello, gorgeous faces. It's so nice to see you all. Oh my God, look who I have tonight. I have got, and secrets out. I have been begging Mandy to be on the Cup of Joe since we started in 2020. Seriously. And she's politely declined until I like guilted her into it.
Because I don't have it. I'm not famous. I'm not like, not all knowledgeable about anything. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'll do it. I'm like,
Uh,
oh,
you are,
you have
I'm
some
gonna,
superstars on here, though. You have
oh,
lots of superstars. I'm
there
just,
are a lot of superstars, but we're going to start with the intro to why Mandy is on this call, and I'm going to give a good example. We all know when we log onto Facebook or social media and things happen in the industry and people's emotions can dip and people can get carried away with scarcity and they post their worries in the hopes that somebody else will encourage them or make them feel better about things. But what happens is it gives, and it's a good thing in a way, but it gives the rest of us permission to post our worries. Next thing you know, we've got a whole party of people, and it's great. It feels good for about 2 minutes commiserating with each other. And then it starts to affirm that that's the way life is. And then
yeah.
Mandy comes in and goes, hold on, pull yourself up by the bootstraps. This is what we should be doing. Let's look at it this way. And you have no idea. And you've been that way since the day I met you. And and I joke with Mandy because she reminds me so much of one of my superheroes that I've loved my entire life. What would Dolly do? And
Mm.
I always think of Mandy because you don't pretend to know all the answers. You're humble to a fault. I mean, we don't buy that much humble because you're talented, you're successful, but you don't put on airs, you don't pretend to know the answers, but you always search for the way up. And you force us to too. And that's, I think, the thing I noticed about you from the day I met you. Even when things were hard for you, you searched for the next positive thought. So 10-year-old Mandy, were you always like that? Tell me about 10-year-old Mandy. Is
10-year-old
you
Mandy.
want Mandy, not Amanda, right?
Um, well, yes, Mandy, I'm from East Tennessee, so we were Mandys back then. We weren't like Amandas,
Okay.
It's like, you had your nicknames. Everybody went by their nicknames. So yeah. I was a middle child. So I was constantly mediating. I am a people pleaser and I am a let's fix this, let's fix it, let's fix it, let's fix it. And I have twins, so I'm constantly in the middle of them. And it's like my whole entire life. Like I'm always like, where's the bright side? Let's
Wait, you have like you're part of triplets? You're
no, I
one of the
have so
Oh,
I
you
was
have your own twins. Okay, okay.
so I was like the middle of three girls.
Mhm.
And then I had twins and I'm constantly in the middle of them too. So I feel like I'm just always um turning things around. So, for the better.
So did you
It's
when
hard.
you were young, did you when you were young, did you resent that? Or did you like it? Or did you
Um,
feel
I didn't think I'd know any different. I didn't know any different.
yeah.
I was the and I grew up in the 90s, early 90s, and so I was I was the middle child who wasn't the oldest who got the new things, right? Like I had a lot of hand-me-downs and I wasn't the baby who got new things too. So I was always like making making the most out of whatever, I
Yeah.
had. So
Yeah.
that's the way I just lived.
So did you have big dreams and aspirations, or were you just happy to play in the moment and
Oh
living
no,
in the moment?
I was that kid that would do their autograph all over everything growing up. And I wanted to be, I wanted to be somebody. I wanted to be a singer or an actress, or like I was obsessed with it, obsessed. In fact, like my my major in college was broadcasting because I wanted to be on the news because um I mean, I knew what I was wanting going to be when I was like teeny tiny. I was going to be a news anchor because news anchors were locally famous, right? They're local celebrities. And, they're easy to aspire to be,
And you feel
kind
like you know them, like they're
yeah.
part of your family, they're a big deal in the community.
And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a news anchor. And that's what I went to school for. And I didn't end up doing that.
But why? What happened from school to,
It's very much a silly story, but it was my senior year in college, and again, I've always wanted to do broadcasting since I was a wee little girl, and my minor was political science, and my senior in college comes around. I'm at the beach, like on my family beach trip or something, and there was some paperback book that was in the condo that like it's like a give one and take one, if they just have them there if you want to read the paperback books or whatever. And at the time it was 96, so it was during like the Clinton Gore. The politics were so fun at the time, and I read this book, and it was such a stupid, it was a silly book, but it was about um a reporter who brought down the entire White House. She found some scandals and she kept digging and she kept pushing and kept digging. And I was kind of like, I don't think I want to be that person anymore. I think I want to be more that person. And I kind of flipped my major. I went to poli sci major, broadcasting minor.
be
I,
like an investigative reporter?
No, I didn't want to be the nosy reporter.
Oh,
I
you
didn't want to
didn't
be
want to.
nosy. No, I didn't want to be the person in your face and, just like question. I'm going to bring you down. I'm going to bring you down. I'm going to get to the bottom of it. I wanted to maybe be like more of the decision making, change kind of side of things.
So Tennessee, right?
Uh-huh.
I'm kind of fascinated by that because I literally, the only thing I know about places like that, because living outside America, I have this romantic image like of it, like a real America, like Tennessee and, Alabama and Georgia. And were you in like a city, or were you in the country or the suburbs when you grew up?
I was in the city. I grew up in Knoxville, which is in East Tennessee. It's Dolly. So
Yeah, so
I
it's,
grew up like 20 minutes from where she is. So I'm in East Tennessee.
I mean, I'm
Uh,
not wrong thinking she's like the best human being in the world.
no, she's
Okay, right. I'm not. She's like one of those people that like universally everyone just agrees. So
and honestly, like that's we were talking about that. Like I feel like I am similar to her in that, she grew up with a lot of kids, but she's always like looking for the bright side of everything. And she's like, well, there's nothing you can do about it. So you might as well just, move on, move forward, do something else, fix it, like find a way out of it. And I just feel like she's such a good person and she does everything the right way with the right heart. And I feel like that is me. Like I'm not one to like step on toes and um, do things the wrong way. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it the right way.
but see that's I look at you almost as if you were a character in a book. Um, because because it feels like, and the more I see the struggles that friends go through and other people go through, and how easy it is to like lose sight of who you are and who you feel like you should be, and I recognize in you what I see in a lot of people in Hollywood that made it and people that have successful careers. Will Smith comes to mind because he had one idea about himself, and that's how I see you with your kind of mindset about like there's always a way to fix it, coming maybe from being the middle child. Will Smith always says, I might be mangling this and it might not, no, it is Will Smith, I know it is. He's famous for saying, you might be better than me, you might be more talented than me, but if I get on a treadmill and you get on a treadmill, either you're going to get off the treadmill first or I'm going to die on the treadmill or something like that. I probably mangled that. And that one idea has formed his whole life. Like everything else can, it can go wrong, but you always come back to the idea of who you are. And I feel that you have a very strong idea of who you are, what you'll settle for, what you won't settle for. I mean, I might be wrong. My best calls are calls with people that I don't actually know that well. You and I have never sat down and talked for 600 hours, right? But yeah. But the thing is, you don't waste time talking about people. You seem to spend your time being busy doing things. So let's talk about audiobooks. I'm not, and because I do tend to blow smoke up people's asses in the first 15 minutes of the call. I'm not just doing that though. I'm serious. I want to hack how you maintain your good attitude without losing it so I can do it myself.
I tell you, though, I swear, like you're an actor and I'm not, so I feel like everything I don't have super high expectations. Like I'm not expecting to get the Audie. I'm so excited and thankful to be in this industry and I feel like I'm doing well in this industry. And it's kind of like, how did I get here? Like, this is so awesome,
How did you get here? You were in theater, weren't you?
Well, no, not. Oh, hang on, this dog just fell. Come here.
And while you're doing that, I can tell you, Barbara says she's currently listening to Mount Moriah's Wake. So good.
Oh, thank you. Sorry. The little doggy fell through the chair. So I couldn't just leave. So I humongous reader. I'm a huge reader, and I would be pretty much an audiobook fanatic, I would say. Like my mom was a big reader. She subscribed to books on tape back when they were cassettes.
Oh, and so I love your mom.
I know. I mean, I'm not kidding. Like I swear we had a subscription, and that's when I started. And I would started listening to the cassette tapes. And then from there you went to, Crackle Barrel and you did the CDs. And at the time, throughout my whole life, like I was always in the car, for some reason or another. So instead of listening to music, I just would prefer to listen to a book on CD or whatever it was.
Just for those of us that don't know, what's Crackle Barrel?
Oh, it's actually Cracker Barrel, but I always say Crackle Barrel because I just grew up with it. It is a country home cooking restaurants all throughout the United States. And it's
okay.
Biscuits and gravy.
I thought it was like an audiobook thing that I'd missed out on.
No. Well, that's so funny because now that I can explain it, at Cracker Barrel, they would have these big kiosks of books on CD. And they were kind of famous back in the day because a lot of people, Cracker Barrel is your road trip place, right? You want to stop on road trips.
Like Denny's.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And so they started getting into the audiobook and they would have them on kiosks and you could buy one at every Crackle Barrel and then return it at the next one and just like get less than $3. Like it's just $3.
That's so cool. Yeah. That makes me love America. That's so cool. That's really.
I was like the only one of my complete friends social circle that had any idea what I was talking about because I'm like, oh yeah, you kiosk at Crackle Barrel.
That's like one of those things you never knew existed, but when you find out, it makes you like just happy.
I know. I'm not kidding, and it's funny that that was my thing, and I traveled a lot with my first job out of college, and
What
that
was that?
was the thing. Well, it wasn't really my first job, but my big job that I was at most of my career was working for the American Heart Association, and did that's kind of what I wanted to do when I got into the political science aspect of it. I wanted to do nonprofit, and I wanted to um, make a difference. You know, I wanted to be the change, the person making the change.
Yeah.
So I was there for 8 years or so, and I was the youth market directors for the state of Tennessee. So
How did you deal with the corporate aspect?
Well, you know what? I didn't have the luxury of dealing with that. My job with the Heart Association was I was the youth market director. So I literally worked with elementary and middle school kids all across the state of Tennessee.
Oh, that's
And
lovely.
I know. And so I like had I always say I had the best job with the Heart Association. I was in my car a lot, but like I got to teach heart health and fundraising for sick hearts to the kids who lost their mom and dad and grandpa and stuff. So it was great.
And then on the way, you were listening to audiobooks, training yourself for your next successful career.
Yep, I know. And that's
So,
and well, I haven't even gotten there yet. So after the Heart Association, I opened a little
wait.
boutique.
I need to fill in more. I'm sorry to keep interrupting, but I need the
No,
picture here. Are you still in Tennessee when you're doing all this driving? Are you driving all across the
yes.
country?
No, it's just it's the state of Tennessee. But
Okay.
you know, it's I don't know how to do mileage, but it's like 8 hours driving from one end to the other.
Are you already married at this point, or
It was.
you're already
Yeah,
married? Okay, so this is like beginning of a life. Okay, got the picture. Go ahead.
I know, right? Um, and so then Heart Association, I'm there, love it, love it, love it. Get pregnant with the twins. And so I stayed at the Heart Association until the kids were like 3. And then I decided I kind of wanted to be home with them for a little bit. So um, then I started working part-time at a boutique and ended up owning the boutique for like 2 years. I know,
Wait,
I know. I'm not. See, it's embarrassing. Like
what?
I had a million different things. It's my friends make fun of me. They're like, "Oh, Mandy's she'll
So
do
Mandy
whatever."
goes to get the minimum wage survival job and decides to just buy the business.
I mean, why not? And at the time, Daniela, were you familiar with like chalk paint? Like when that was like huge, like when
Actually,
people
I've
would paint
recently painted a cupboard
Okay.
with that stuff. Is it not
Okay.
cool anymore?
Well, it was just really big and trendy and everywhere, like when I was in this business. And so it was
I
kind of
thought it
that
was
time.
like a new thing and I was like on the cutting edge.
Oh, well, you are. You are.
Obviously not.
And
Okay,
Annie
so
Sloan is like from over there, right? Do you know who that is? Annie Sloan. She developed it. She's like from London or
yeah, I think
England.
that's where we got ours from.
Oh, we'll see. It's good stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, still
Yes.
listening to audiobooks. Now I'm
But wait,
painting
I'm
furniture.
confused about what chalk paint had to do. I missed the connection.
Well,
Oh,
that's
okay.
the kind of
Okay.
boutique I had. So like I would
Okay.
sell chalk paint, paint furniture for people. People would
Okay.
come in and buy furniture, stuff like that. It was like a little gift home boutique kind of thing.
And what made you think to buy the place? It's like I'm fascinated by that. That takes a certain level of confidence in yourself.
Now, it wasn't the greatest decision I ever made. I'm not going to lie. My husband was not on the same page with it, but I was like so excited and was like, I'm all in. I'm doing it. Let's do it. People were wanting to get out, and I'm like, this is timing. It's timing. It's timing. It's clearly in the fates. It's clearly in the stars. I'm supposed to own this boutique. Um, but it's funny because I was even I only owned it for 2 years. It was not a success, but I was closing the store. I decided I was going to not renew the lease. I was closing the store. And I always listened to audiobooks when I would paint furniture. And so I always had one on still. And I was listening, store was getting ready to close, painting a piece of furniture, listening to an audiobook. And it was like a bestseller. I don't remember what it was, but it was a bestseller. And the narrator was not good. Like awful good. And I was like, well, there's no way that this person is an actor, like a famous actor person. And I was like, well, crap. If these normal people can
Do
do
it,
this,
then I can do it.
I bet there's an out. I wonder how you even do it. Like, I wonder how you even get started in it. And it was then when I was painting that last piece of furniture before my store closed that I decided to research and dip my toes in. And I really was just going to start there. And then I just stayed. Like
Yeah.
once I researched and once I, got me a mic and got me a sound and upgraded as I went, got a better mic, got a better sound booth, got a bigger, better, but, and I just kind of bloom, bloom, bloom.
How do you deal with the knocks to the confidence? How do you deal with the feeling of setback and with the what do you tell yourself? What internal dialogue do you have when you run across the whole shiny, glittery Instagram, TikTok audiobook world? How do you deal with, what do you tell yourself to get yourself back to work?
Um, I'm not gonna lie, like and I know we've talked about it before. Everybody goes through slumps and they are debilitating and they are really, really, really hard to get out of, especially when you're on social media and seeing everybody's everything all the time, like, woo, celebrate, celebrate. And to be honest, I use a day and just kind of be depressed about it. And then I just push, I make myself get out of it. I literally am like, Mandy, I mute the people that they're my friends, but I mute them for a time being because it's just unhealthy to be obsessed with these people. And that's okay. You can walk away from these people and be friends with them again when you get your mindset in a more positive place.
And also, they'll never know you muted
They'll
them.
never know. They'll never know.
I mean,
And
I wish real life was like that. Mute, mute.
I know.
But
And
I love the fact that you honor yourself enough to give yourself permission to just have a day to be depressed. And it's like, you don't just say, oh, I'm going to have a day and do self-care and take a bubble bath. You say, I'm going to have a day and be depressed. That's quite revelatory. I don't think I've
yep.
ever allowed myself to be depressed, even for a minute, without beating myself up for it.
And I just feel like, because I think when you get down that low, which I have before, it makes you, it, it kind of turns you around because you're this depressed because you're not as successful as this person, but my God, you are this far along so you can be depressed that you're not here. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if it's a timeline, you're here and you want to be here, but man, you were here and you're depressed now because you want to be here.
But
And it kind of,
ironically, the most ironic part of that I realized in the last year or so is that the people that you're looking at, that you're trying to be there, a lot of times the people that are posting the most are the ones that are the most insecure. And if you look at what you're really doing, you're probably doing more than them. But because you're not, because you're looking at some fake thing that's not even true. And what you said, the post that completely comes to my mind, and I've got to tell you, when I saw your response, I was like, Andy! Like, literally almost jumped up off the couch. I was so like, because somebody was saying, they were talking about the whole, I can't even remember the exact post, but it was like the veteran narrators and the lack of pub jobs coming in and the audiobook industry being flooded and things have changed. People do one book and suddenly all the and Mandy, you guys, came up and said something. It was like in a private group, so I'm not going to obviously quote you, and I'll probably get it wrong anyway. Mandy said something like, "Suck it up, you guys. Listen." Reach out to writers, make friends. You're a business person. You're freelance. You should be the boss of your own business anyway. What are you doing not sourcing your own work? You're sitting back waiting for somebody to employ you. Get a grip and have a good attitude and go and do the work. And like, did I quote you wrong?
no, I mean, but honestly, Daniela, like that is so me. And And it's probably me yelling at myself too. So like me being everybody else's cheerleader is really makes me get off my rump and do something as well, because I'm like, it motivates me to cheer people up, and it motivates
Yeah.
me to bring people up. And I it kind of lights a fire. Lots of fire under my butt is what it does. Lots of fire.
But it was definite tough love. I mean, it wasn't like namby-pamby kind of like, we all love you. It was tough love. And I think people need that sometimes these days because we tend to get in our own heads in this job.
Well, and the realistic side of it is it's not fair. I mean, I get mad. It makes me mad. It's not fair. It's not right. But I'm not going to get another book sitting here whining about it. I mean, it's like, it is what it is. And so, like, if you want to get another book, then you need to get another book.
But and also I was having a conversation. Isn't it funny, the social media thing? I was messaging someone today. I was having a conversation, like hardly a conversation, but a message chat with someone, and we were talking about the whole publisher thing. And I realized that in a year since reaching out in my personal, very unattractive, low moment, I still cringe at the late night emails I sent Johnny and Joanna going, I should just quit. And then I think it was at the point when I was talking to PJ and I said, why am I working every single day, right? Every single day killing myself if somebody's going to come in and get a, be like a raving success after one. And PJ said to me, he said, that's a very destructive road you're going down. Very destructive. You're a creator. Over 200 people have chosen you. Those people have made the choice to choose you. So you're sitting there choosing to, and he kind of did what you did for like all those people. He knocked some sense in me. And then I forgot about it, went on with my job, busy. And somebody said something about the publisher thing. I thought, oh my God, I haven't even thought about it in a year since talking to PJ and Joanna and Johnny and Aaron. And I was having a real low moment. PJ, Johnny, Joanna, Aaron, Jesse, and Hillary all had to talk me out of it. You got to reach for help.
Too. And it's, listening, they go through it, like they go through it. So if I'm like, well, if they go through it and I go through it, then I'm just like them, right?
But there's also the way to look at it. I realized today when I was talking was I'm not thinking about it anymore because I'm busy. And if I have a choice, do I want to be able to send out emails saying I've got such and such a new publisher every week? Or do I want to be, I'm busy. Like I don't ever get a day off. So if I'm this busy, well, I'll just keep narrating forever. Isn't that what we want, to narrate, right? If you're reliant completely on publishers, which is the other thing you were saying in that post, if you're reliant completely on publishers, and then what if that publisher leaves? Your contact that happens to like you and think you're amazing. And what if they leave? Then what are you going to do?
Exactly.
If you make your own work and have a good mix with as many publishers as you can get, you're set for life.
And it's the way to look at it is, you're dependent on them. You're dependent on them for the work, and you're begging, give me, versus like being in charge of your own self, your own wealth, and your own destiny. And like, well, I'm gonna go. And I like that part of it. And that was hard. Trust me, I went through it too. And I got into a big Debbie Downer phase when these new people were getting the pubs, and I feel like I've paid my dues. I should be in all the pubs. Like, why not me? Why not?
Because you're one of the middlers. There's the middlers. There was the veterans that got the studio. I still say that.
Yes.
And then the new people came in and they were like, oh, don't bother with all that. Just go straight to all the contacts. And then
straight down. Oh, it's so easy. So easy.
And there is a big group of narrators that started right around the time we all did. And they were like, hold on. And there was a big message going out. I don't know if you heard it. I still haven't traced down where it came from, but the whole don't really start to expect publishers until you've had 100 audiobooks. And then you get 100 audiobooks, and they're like, we want new voices. Anyone new? You're like, hold on, I was new. But I don't worry about that anymore, because if you look at your work and all the times that you've not had a book, all of us, I don't care for anyone in the audience that has 5 books to their name, there's always another book. There's always another book. And if there isn't, you can get one. You know you can get one. So isn't that what we want to do? Narrate?
Exactly. And that's it. My publisher, like, obsession, I guess you could call it.
Yeah, I had one.
is less being with a publisher and more like being in a bookstore, like being able to put your name on books that of authors that you really, really respect and bestseller lists. And so mine is like, it could be with anybody. So like, I just say, like, I just want to be in a bookstore. Like, I finally got
the picture of what you think it looks like. Because I think if I'm really honest in an unattractive way, I told you, don't let me be honest on this call, is I wanted to be respected. I wanted somebody else to tell me. When I first started, I thought they'd call me into HR and the publisher would give me a badge and they'd give me the benefits and onboarding package, and I would be a publisher narrator and not an ACX narrator. But recently, it was just like last year, it was like, I want to be equally respected for my talent and hard work. And if other people are coming in not having experience and they're getting it, then what was it all for? But now I'm like, absolutely 360 degree. Now I'm my own boss, owning a successful business that's done better than I ever thought it would be. And nobody can ever fire me, because I will just keep doing what I want to do in other directions. And it feels so good, so much better than what I thought I wanted.
It really does. And then on the flip side of that, you're going after books that you want versus, like, getting offered some Yahoo whatever book and you feel like you've got to say yes to it because you got offered it, and versus, I mean, I don't know. I think it's just, there's something just empowering about it.
Yeah. And you get the publisher jobs, ironically, because they see all the good work you've done with the other books.
Exactly. I mean, it's ridiculously cyclical. I mean, to be honest, yeah, it really is. It's crazy, but it's frustrating.
Yeah, it's like what they say about dieting. Dieting causes you to gain more weight afterwards. So dieting actually causes you to be fat. So if you just didn't worry about it, you'd be fine. If we just didn't worry about whether we're seen as successful, we'd be fine.
Yeah.
Here's your badge. You're a success, Mandy, and I'm giving myself a badge. I'm a success. So,
and with us, like, as much as our industry is changing, so is their industry, the book people. So, people that always only thought, oh, if I'm not with a publisher, I'm not successful, and that's the only route to take. Like, authors now don't have to go that route anymore. Like, they're really selling crazy amounts of books, on their own and self-publishing and becoming just as wealthy and just as famous. And
the indie, I admire the hell out of that.
They have control of it.
I have a question. I've got a couple of questions coming in, good ones, but I also first I have a question. Is your favorite type of genre to narrate the same as your favorite to listen to?
I go through my phases of books, and I'm a big reader, and I love my back in the library days, when you go to the libraries, like, I always called them 6-pack books, with the 6-pack on the cover. Those are my summertime books. So the little hot romantic comedy. Like, those are my, and I would fly through them. And I would go in the library and just get stacks of them at the beginning of summer and just go through them, just like. Um, so there's a time and a place, and I love a good romantic comedy that's funny and witty, and I mean, it's very smart writing.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the sweet hallmarky. I don't read those for pleasure. But I love me a romantic comedy, and I'm a big thriller mystery person. If I had to pick one genre that I gravitate toward to read. Mm-hmm.
So
read, yes, same thing.
So I've got some questions coming in. Barbara wants to know, what's the coolest purchase you've ever made?
Oh, that's easy. I'm obsessed with, I got an opal ice maker. Like I got it on Kickstarter. So I've had it now for like 6 or 7 years, and it makes the Sonic chunky ice, which you may not know what that is, Daniela, but it's like the really soft little chunk ice. And to this day, I'm like, it's the best money I've ever spent. I'm like, I know it's so silly, but
how is it different than just putting water in an ice tray? Does it taste different?
Yes.
Yeah.
Soft, like crunchy ice, but it's not like
snow cones?
Sort of. I don't really know how to explain it if you don't know it. It's that pellet ice, like pellets, little pellets, like soft pellet ice.
Feeling that like California and like Tennessee are like not as much the same as I thought they were. Because I'm missing all the highway restaurants and all the. Okay, we got more questions. What's the weirdest gift you've ever received or given?
Oh gosh.
That's another one from Barbara. She gets us every time.
Gift that I've given or received. It's funny when you start thinking about this, because now it's like I keep thinking about things that are what's going in my head is there's this little Christmas sweater that's like this big, and somebody one year put it on a wine bottle to take to somebody's house, and I can't now get that out of my head, because that's something that is like, it's lasted years at this point. And that little sweater ends up at somebody's house every year as like as the little wine. Here it is. Oh, who's got it now? Oh, and it's like one of those really ugly Christmas sweater, like hand knitted things. And it just keeps on making the rounds every year.
They have that in Italy. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm a terrible spontaneous gift. I want to be better. Like, I feel like people are just so thoughtful and gift giving all the time. And if I think about it, I want my gift to be really meaningful. I put a lot of thought when I do it, but I'm not a sporadic, pick something up kind of person either.
I'm not either. And I overthink it, and then I end up ruining it by trying too hard.
I forgot. I've got the gift given.
Okay, what's the gift?
I always used to say that the man I'm going to marry is going to get me a pack of gum at a gas station. And I know that's so silly, but I always would say, while they're there paying for gas and like going on with their day, they think enough about me while they're there to pick up a pack of gum for me.
Where did you meet your husband? Was it eyes meet across a crowded room, madly in love suddenly?
We lived next door to each other in college at an apartment complex.
Oh, so like the boy next door.
It really was. And it was, we were friends for a while, and then he come say hi.
Nikki.
You're coming. I'm blurry.
You guys, look who we've got for you. Everyone knows Nikki. You guys are accountability partners, aren't you?
Kind of, sort of, yes.
Because you've been friends from the very beginning. It's so nice to see you, Nikki.
It's great to see you too. It's okay. Don't worry. I'm blurry.
No, it's okay. Hang on.
Oh,
Ah,
much better, much better. It's so look at these are the power narrators, you guys. Nikki, I'm gonna introduce you properly, but I'm going to butcher your surname. Zakos?
Zaycox.
Zakos. I knew I would get it wrong. So, Mandy, and this is Mandy's guest, Nikki Zakos. And feel free to pull up a seat while we grill Mandy on all her deep, dark secrets.
Oh,
this is hilarious because it's just randomly she's never been here before and she just happens to be visiting like literally right now during this call. So it's
I think it's lovely. I think it's lovely. It's my favorite thing about this community that people we made friends. While everyone else was out in COVID freaking out, being miserable, we were all busy making friends. And that's the thing I love the most. Okay, so we got a very important question from Barbara. What's the scariest thing that's ever happened to you?
Oh gosh. I hate scary things. I hate them. I hate being scared. I don't like to watch anything scary.
What about
Sca-
nerve-wracking or tense or,
yeah,
auditions, waiting for the
yeah,
news?
yeah. Honestly, okay, I will say to get a little personal for a second. The scariest thing was when I thought I could not have kids. And I was kind of told that I could not, probably would not have them.
Oh,
So,
wow.
so obviously I do, and now they're 13, but I had to go through a lot of crap back in the day to have them. So yeah,
Well,
that
you
was that
showed them, you doubled it.
showed it. Man, I showed it.
And they're stunning. They're just so lovely. They're just so lovely. So,
They are.
but the thing is I love that I love hearing about people that take things in life and I love a happy ending. I
Yeah,
do.
that's one thing like we were talking about. I was like, when the doctors told me that I couldn't, I might not be able to do it. I'm like, well, we're gonna find a way. We're gonna fix it. We're gonna find a way to that's my whole life. Like that's my outlook on everything. Well, there's a way to do it. We're gonna find out a way to do it. We're gonna
And you're
figure it out.
usually right, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, hopefully most of the time.
Yeah. And it's not a bad way to go through life. I think it's serving you well. And also you mentioned the whole not having an acting background. I'm serious. I've heard you narrate. I mean, it's a lot of people that I went to drama school with and that I trained with when I was young. A lot of them went on to do amazing things. And then some of them didn't. And it's like the things you tick, right? Like the college degree or the this or the that. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're good or you're not good. So a lot of people that are like, well, I don't have an acting background. Some of them have huge, huge talent, and you have huge, huge talent. And I think your authors recognize that. And yeah, it comes out in your work.
I just love it. I mean, I absolutely love it. And maybe it's because I'm not an actor, and it's not just everything's a job, like, next job's coming up, like the fast moving world of acting. Um, I don't know, like I just love it. And I love to read. And um, I don't know. I hope I'm doing a good job. And honestly, I was talking to somebody about this. Like, if I was in my 20s doing this, I don't think I would have made it and taken it as seriously maybe as I am now. I don't know. I feel like I finally found what I was supposed to be doing now, like,
Yeah.
40 years old. And I'm not sure if I would have sustained the career and loved it as much had I started. I'd almost like taken it for granted or something, like getting into it early. I don't
Because
know.
also you were a different person. I mean, I've had this conversation
Yeah.
with so many people about age and not in an ageist certain age kind of thing. But I really, really have started to think that there's the first part of your life where you're ticking the boxes and trying to figure out what you're doing. And you have this big like pressure, like it's all going to blow up if I don't figure it out and do something quickly. Oh my God, everyone else is going in front of me. And then
Yes.
you get to a point you're like, actually nothing's happened yet. So maybe I'll just watch some Netflix and figure it out tomorrow. and then you land into something like you said, because you love it.
Yeah.
You love what you're doing. And it comes through in your voice. Oh, they're talking about your books. It's your fan club's chat. I'll send you the chat after the call so you won't miss anything. Don't look at it now.
I'm not going to look. I'm not, you promise. I'm not doing it.
You will definitely be distracted because everyone loves you. But yeah, so I think you wouldn't have wanted to do it earlier, even if you could have. You were a different person, weren't you? Now you've gotten over it. You've got the kids. You've done the things that were like urgent. I'm not saying you're like, I'm not pinning you in any age. I have no clue how old you are.
Yeah,
But
no, I totally understand.
you tick the boxes, and now it's time for you to do what you love.
And everybody, always asks me about getting into this business, and, I obviously got into it the way I got into it. And so had zero confidence and had no idea what I was doing at all. And I was really worried about, being from the South and worried about my accent and well, I can
really, but that's a biggest selling point.
Well, no, I wanted to sound like a news broadcaster when I started in this. Like I can drop my accent and it's fine. And I didn't want anybody to think that I was, Southern accent, redneck, like trying to come in and do their books or something. And so like I was very secretive about like where I was from and all that stuff.
Really?
Until like I started just getting confidence, and I'd get one book and then the next. And I had a handful of books at this point and, was getting good feedback and was like, kind of like, oh my God, is this real life? Like, am I actually doing this? And I started really having fun with it. And again, if I was doing this earlier in life, I don't really give a shit about anything now, right? So it's like I can be in my booth and do the silly voices and just go over the top and just have so much fun with it. I don't take myself as much seriously.
Yeah, right there. That. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the phrase. That's what I was.
Everything I took 20 minutes rambling on about you said in one sentence.
Yes. And I mean but that's the truth. And back to the publisher thing. I mean, the books that I ever get from publishers are Southern books. And it's like, if that's my way of getting in, then that's my way of getting in. And you've got to kind of embrace who you are. And
I would kill to sound like you.
It makes you your own.
I would kill to sound like you. I would walk around all day long trying to sound like that if I thought I could pull it off.
No, girl. You crazy.
But what you said was very smart. Mark Rice Oxley said this in the last call, and I was a bit taken aback. He said, I don't believe in confidence. He said, I don't think it's a thing. People want to have confidence. He said, I believe in just working and doing something over and over and over again. And that's what you did. And then you feel not scared of it because you've done it so many times.
Yes.
And that's what you did. You developed the confidence through the heart that I've got this, I've done it.
Yes.
Oh yeah, they're still talking about how much they love you. I keep thinking there's going to be another question. It's all just all these people talking about how much they love the Mandy fan clubs.
Confidence is fleeting. There's days that you are super confident, and then there's days that you are not, and you're like, I can't do this. What am I doing? And the thing with doing it in a repetitive state and knowing you can do it is just that. Like, that you can do it. That you've been hired for it. That you can't suck that bad, right? Or you wouldn't have gotten this job. And it's just it's factual versus, I don't know how to say it, but it's like it's facts.
Yeah,
You
I know what you're saying.
I can't be that bad if I'm getting these jobs.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, and then the more I do it, the more comfortable I am, and the more, fun I have with it. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. The more fun I have with characters
And
versus trying to be like, she walked in the door and then she, you know what I mean? Like just,
yeah. And listen to your voice. Does my voice sound, remember? And then I always hear when the very new people start and they're like, I'm a perfectionist. I listen back to every word and they listen to every breath. And like, oh, you'll let go of that real quick. And you stop thinking being a perfectionist is a good thing. You start realizing being a perfectionist just means you don't have any confidence and you're not comfortable with your, and what you said, oh, I completely lost that train of thought. Forget it. But you said something, oh yeah, it's the publisher thing. How can you can't, how do you fool yourself that like, you're not a success, no matter how much you look on social media, if you have a list of books you've done? There's your fact. It's not like an opinion. It's an objective fact. This is how many books you've done. So you cannot be a failure, right? You've done this many books.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
And when you get hired for roles based on your quirkiness and your crazy personalities and your stupid accents, and that's what makes it almost even better, because all these things that you look down at yourself on throughout your entire life, like that's what makes you unique. And I know your mom has told you that for your whole life, but it really does. And that's what you're offering these people is that voice, your personality in that voice.
And what's behind it? About 4 years ago, I got LPR and it's ruined my voice. It gave me a very hoarse voice. It doesn't sound like me. And I had to learn to act anyway through it so that my voice wasn't what mattered. Now I've had one day where it was back to normal. I'm hoping I've now found a cure. But if I get my voice back like the way it was, I'll now have these 4 years of experience.
Yeah.
Having to like overcompensate and make it better because I couldn't rely on just having a pretty voice.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. You got to use everything you've got. Yeah, I'm going to send you the chat because everyone, it's the Amanda fan club. So I'm going to send you the chat. You've got lots of fans.
I don't know how, but thank you all. I don't know. I don't get it.
So I've got 2 questions for you now. Sure. The final last one, but I've got one before that. What do you dream of? Like if I could wave a magic wand and give you the thing that you most desire right this moment, what would it be?
I'm going to tell you a secret, because you're not supposed to tell what you wish for, like, right or wrong and true. I have on every birthday cake, on everything, all I wish is to be happy. Like, I'm not one of those people that ever wished for, money or this or that. I wanted happiness. And I know it sounds so stupid and silly, but I tell my kids that too. Like, you can wish and dream for all these things, but until you're happy, none of those things. I mean, it's just, it's not ever going to happen.
Yeah.
So I just always dream to be happy.
I love that. Okay. Famous last words for the people that are going to be watching this video in the next 60, 70, 100 years. If you could leave them with one thought that you would want them to take away from this call with Mandy, what would you want them to remember? Piece of advice, anything.
Well, I will tell you what I tell it. No, if my kid was here, Jules, she's not here. I tell them this all day, every day, that it's not hard to be kind. It's just not hard. It's way harder.
And that's what it all comes down to, isn't it?
And it's so much easier. It's not hard. It's really easy.
Yeah. I think it's been very, very clear why you have such a large fan club. I am so grateful you took the time to finally join me on this call. But I think you already know what you can deliver as a narrator, and you already know what you've earned confidence-wise. But I don't know if you know the amount of people that you affect and that you help. You do with your energy, because it's a lot. It's a lot, and we need more people like you, because everyone has down days, and this is a very fraught. For any actor, any freelance, it's fraught. It's you're face to face with your demons every single day, and your strength and your fix-itness that you learned as a child, you've been fixing it for everyone by your mindset, and it's I think we're all grateful. We're all grateful to you for that.
Person that's like, we're all in this together, and there's enough books for everybody. Like everybody could have a book. Like,
Yeah.
not leave anybody out. Like
You reminded me of Oprah. There's a book for you, and there's a book for
seriously. But there is. I mean, you just gotta go out and find it.
Yeah.
There is.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. You need to start counting what we have, not what we don't. So,
well, very good. Yes.
thank you so much. And please give kisses to Nikki as well, and your gorgeous rescue puppy.
So thank you for having me. I
Thank
still
you.
can't believe I was invited. So I'm like, what am I doing? So I'm like,
Thank you,
you're
Mandy.
fabulous. Thank you for doing this.
Mwah. Thank you for joining, guys. You're a fabulous, gorgeous studio audience as always. Bye. Bye.